Hey, everybody. Welcome to SOS Small Business Podcast. We're all about building brands that survive while developing people that thrive. I'm your host of the podcast, Bonnie Bonadeo. This year I'm celebrating 40 years in the beauty industry, and I really cater to small businesses, beauty businesses, wellness, health businesses, things like that, to be able to help them build their brands. And what we know to be true is that there are really no business issues we're dealing with, they're personal issues. And so anything that you're trying to do to get your business to grow and to prosper is typically not a business issue. It's a you issue. We have to be able to figure out what is that mindset that's preventing you from growing. Is it something you need to learn? Is it something you need to do differently? Is it increasing sales? Is it finding the right operational setups? Is it marketing your business? Any of those things. And I specialize working with these small businesses from that marketing and branding standpoint, but not to neglect any of the 5 strategies that I say it takes to be a successful small business today. And that part of that is creating strategic opportunities for success. So that's where the SOS comes in, as well as, save our small businesses, save our souls, really, is what it's coming down to after the last year that we've had. And then, of course, the strategy that I focus on is these 5 key areas. And each and every week, the podcast focuses on one of these key areas too. So it's sales, operations, mindset, marketing, and education. And today we're going to be talking about operations, all right? And operations is a broad category, a very big category. But what we're going to talk about today is that you're the captain of policy, procedure, and guidelines in your business. Now, we all know that each and every business is somewhat mandated by the industry that you're in. So, when we talk about people that are in the beauty business, there's certain things. There's licensure that is a policy. You have to have a license in order to work in a salon. For small businesses, you have to have a business license in order to be working in your business. You might need different policies or insurance policies. In order to have a valid business, say a brick and mortar business, you might need to have certain insurance policies to be in place, okay? And we're going to define here a little bit, the difference between policy, procedure, and guidelines, because there's a lot happening right now in our small business climate. And what we're, up against is how do we stay in business? What we're up against is rebuilding our business. What we're up against are the clients and customers that we serve and the inability to maybe have strong policies, procedures, and guidelines in place that continue to serve them in the best way that we can, but also serve us. And the truth is if you have a business, you should have all of your policies, procedures, and guidelines somewhat set up. And as something starts showing up, maybe you need to create a new policy, apply a procedure to it, and then have some guidelines around it. But let's define these 3 things first and foremost, okay? So a policy would be something that is prudent or expedient conduct or action, okay? Prudent, meaning there's not a gray area in here, all right? Procedure is a series of actions that are conducted in a certain way, order, or manner. So now what we're saying is that we're going to put a procedure together to implement this policy, all right? And guidelines would be more of like a general rule or principle or piece of advice. And anytime you're creating strategies in your business, it's probably a good idea to be able to look at what's our policy, what's our procedure for this, and what is our guideline. And all of these would be creating operational excellence in your business, okay? Creating operational excellence in your business. So let's kind of go through each one of these a little bit more, because remember, operational success is in leading, okay? It's not in putting out fires afterwards, managing, okay? It's leading these policies and procedures and guidelines in such a way that everyone's clear and has a better understanding of them. I know that most small business owners end up being in a situation of trying to put out fires or fix things on the back end instead of taking the time to implement policies, procedures, and guidelines on the front end, okay? So we have to be able to kind of look at where is the gray area, where's the gray water, and where is it not, all right? And I'll give you a couple examples of things that are, very obvious opportunities to be able to be stronger in your operational foundation of your business, okay? So let's look at the kind of the broad scope here. Is it easier to converse with a few repeat offenders or change the experience for everyone? Okay. So converse with a few repeat offenders or change the experience for everyone. So something would be like, we're gonna change our dress code because one person in my business always ends up dressing unprofessionally. Okay, so maybe it would be better to have a conversation with that one person if you believe that the others are meeting the guidelines or the procedures, following the procedures, or they're clear on the policy that's put in place. And what happens is sometimes one thing happens and we go way off to the other side and implement a new policy that has an impact on, to everyone, an experience. So that was something kind of like from an internal standpoint. But you know which one is really famous in a lot of service-based businesses today is, cancellation policies, no-show policies, late policies, okay? I say the word policy, but the truth is I can tell you that the majority of the people that are having concerns in regards to clients being late, clients no showing, and clients canceling at the last minute is because you don't have a policy, a strong policy in place. You don't have a procedure of what happens if, and then you do this, and then you do that. You don't have a procedure in place. And you also don't have guidelines set up in order to create the ability to weigh the odds of it, okay? The ability to be able to say, is this a repeat offender? Is this an ongoing issue? Is this a circumstance that is permanent or not? Is it gonna go away? Or is it gonna stay forever? And then we need to maybe revise policies and procedures. So let's go back to policy here. A policy is firm with the intent of a desired outcome, okay? So it's firm. So if you have on your website, and maybe within a client communication, you have our cancellation policy is as follows, all right? You have structure around it that creates that firm intent of what you're expecting from that customer, all right? And it has to hold true 100%. It can't say our cancellation policy is on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but on Saturday it doesn't apply. Okay, so it has to follow suit 100% of the time, and it should follow suit with 100% of the recipients. And it's stated as truth. This is truth. Okay, it might be flexible and negotiable, but it's not, it's firm, it's not fluid, all right? Just like if you think about it, that if you're driving in your car and you're driving in traffic, when the light is red, you stop. Stopping at a red light is not only a policy, but it's a law, okay? So you have to stop at a red light. Now, if you don't stop at a red light, obviously you're aware of what the repercussions may be if you don't stop at the red light, okay? But think of a policy as it's firm. Its intent is to have a specific outcome on it. So if you've created a strong policy, then it will help you to withhold and communicate effectively from it, okay? So now we have number 2, which is a procedure. How do we implement the procedure? So the procedure is the steps that you have to implement or create operational structure around. If this happens, we do this. If this happens, you go from A to B to C to D type of thing. So there's a sequential order of what happens when somebody doesn't meet the policy to that, okay? And you have to create these required steps to take in order to ensure the policy remains intact. All right, now again, there's still the ability here that certain things will come up, and we'll talk about that when we get to guidelines here. But think of implementing a procedure as kind of like the green light, okay? Now that we know red is stop, then what we do also know on the other side of this is that green means go, that we can continue to move forward, keep going until we get to this red light, and then it requires us to be able to stop, okay? So then a guideline, those would be those gray areas. The gray areas that you have the ability to create further conversation around, to investigate deeper, to research wide, and or exceptions, okay? Guidelines are flexible and fluid, okay? Policies are not. Guidelines are also based on current trends, dynamics, and circumstances that might be happening in the current climate, okay? So think of guidelines as yellow. It's cautionary. Our understanding is that if we continue to take advantage of the cautionary yellow light, what happens next is a red light and potentially a green light on the other side, which means that other traffic can flow. And if I ignore the cautionary yellow and it goes to red, I may put myself in a situation where I'm in an accident or hurt myself or hurt somebody else in there, okay? So you want to be able to know that you can always look at guidelines in order to create and support your procedures and your policies that you have in place, okay? So most people, I see this a lot, especially in the beauty industry and service-based businesses, is what do you do when you have clients that cancel at the last minute? Can I charge them a cancellation fee? Well, if you have a policy set up and the policy has been communicated effectively, sure, you can do that. But you then have to be able to say, what are the procedures I have in place that makes them aware of this action? What exactly are the procedures, and have I communicated them effectively? And then also looking at guidelines, you want to be able to say, have they met all of these guidelines previously? Have they followed true to my policy for the most part? Is this a one-off situation? Is this a situation that's based on the current climate or the circumstances or trends of what's happening right now? And what you want to do is you want to create policy, procedure, and guidelines from both sides of the coin, okay? Meaning that if you have a cancellation policy that you want to implement and enforce, you also have to have a very effective confirmation policy that you have procedures around and that you know and trust that it does get to the client as a piece of action so that they are aware, okay? I still hear to this day where people are like, oh, my clients don't want to give me their email address, okay? And that's bogus, you guys. That is bogus information today. Everybody has more than one email address for the most part. And if you state that it is strictly for confirmations, then they're probably going to be happy with that, because the truth is we need to be reminded of what's going on in our lives today, because we're massively confused by what day it is, what year it is, what time it is on everything. So reminders are really good. So you could implement a more firm procedure to be able to say, we are getting clients' cell phone numbers and we're getting clients' emails. If we can't get both, one of them has to be a priority. And that you have set up a policy and a procedure that creates confirmations to that client, all right? And in your confirmations, you could even have, and sometimes if it's a text confirmation, you have limited, content that you can put in there. But you could always put in there, please be aware of our cancellation policy, okay? But all of those, I mean, I have a dentist appointment, I have a doctor's appointment, I have, all of these different appointments. And guess what? Guess what I get? I get an email confirmation. I get a text confirmation, and the text confirmation is usually pretty clear. And it says, please hit C to confirm. And then the phone number might be on there if I need to cancel, that type of thing. It's giving me procedures to follow in order to support the policy. Okay. If they didn't send me anything and I just happened to forget my appointment, I understand that they may have the right to charge me a no-show fee or something like that. All right. But the truth is I count on their confirmations in order to set up reminders for me so I don't forget, so I can leave on time, so that I'm not late, so I'm not ignoring or no-showing them. All right. And, you guys, we have to be able to look at really what's going on with the current climate right now and say, there's a lot happening and there's a lot of confusion with what's happening today. So you want to be able to implement procedures, policy, procedures, and guidelines, both sides of the coin. If I'm going to put a cancellation policy in place, then I must put a confirmation policy in place as well to counteract it. Now I'm serving my clients appropriately. I'm also going to then put procedures together. I'm going to make sure that my team is all aware of my procedures. I'm going to make sure my clients are aware of these procedures as well. Okay. Sometimes I'll send out an email to our clients, and it will just be, hey, just a reminder, of our safety protocols that we're implementing as we move forward into 2021, since COVID is still valid. And at the bottom of that, so then I go through what I'm providing for them is how we're keeping them safe. All right. But at the bottom of that email, I might put, in a small box, just a reminder too of our cancellation policies. Okay. Now I'm communicating effectively that they should be aware. No. Is everybody reading the emails? No. Is every single one of our clients getting an email? No. But I'm using as much form of my communication as I can that I have accessible to my clients to make sure that they understand how we do business. I'm teaching them how we do business. Now, we have a handful of these situations that happen. And the majority of the time, those handful of situations are not necessarily new clients. Okay. So there's the risk of some of them being new clients, which means we haven't lost anything but time at this point. Okay. But most of them are existing clients, and there's a fine line of taking an existing paying loyal client and slapping a cancellation fee on them. I would much rather have a conversation with them if they're repeat offenders, or I would much rather get back on the phone with them after they've canceled and said, I just wanted to make sure that we could get you rescheduled, because a client is a valuable asset today. Most of my clients right now, my coaching clients in my coaching business, most of them today are looking for new clients. We're new client campaign momentum. Most of them are also looking for new stylists. So we can't afford to piss anybody off right now. Times are difficult. We can't afford to do that. So that's the creating the policy on both sides of the coin. You have to be able to prepare for circumstances that will arise. You need a cautionary review to enforce or alter policies and procedures, or maybe just to even understand that this particular circumstance is not permanent and therefore can have an exception. All right. So you guys, we have to stay true to the business that we're in. All right. If I made a reservation for a restaurant and that restaurant, listen, very high level fine restaurants might have a credit card on file, and they might charge me if I don't show up. Okay. But most of them do not. There's our general service business. Yes, our time is money, and yes, you are valuable, and yes, we should not have as many flaky people as we do, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to put it back on you. If you're having a ton of issues with clients canceling or no-showing, then you probably do not have a confirmation plan in place, and you don't have a clean, clear, communicated cancellation policy in place. Because if you stay true to the business you're in, the service that you're providing, and the general client avatar demographics, along with what's going on in the world today, you shouldn't have problems. And if you do have problems, it should be minimized, okay? And in most cases, your business strategy, policies, procedures, and guidelines are not in alignment with your expectations. You're expecting people to show up, but you also don't have or haven't implemented good confirmation policies for them to show up. Okay, this is just the way we're doing business today. We are in a digital business for an in real life service. We have to get better at being digitally savvy in order to complement and prosper our in real life business. All right. So when I said that to the client avatar demographics, I want you to think about what the majority of your clients are. The majority of your clients probably fall into a particular category, somewhere between 20 and 60-year-old women. And that's that's a very broad, I'm just kind of going there, right? So you've got 20-year-olds that might be in college, and, is college in class or is college online virtually, okay? You've got women that are mothers. Are their kids in school or are their kids not in school? These are all factors that we're dealing with right now. And it is a reality. It's a reality. I don't think any woman doesn't want to not come in and relax and have some quiet time and get her hair done from the day-to-day stuff she's up against right now. Okay. But I think that there's also some compassion that we have to apply to this. And the most important thing you can do is have the conversation and create the opportunity for a rebook. How can I rebook you? When's the best time to rebook you? I'm calling to reschedule you. I know that you canceled last week. It's also a good time that you can remind them of your cancellation policy if you feel as though they might be repeat offenders, okay? So here's a statement that I learned a long time ago when I first became a coach. It really did fit into this, having an understanding of the way that human beings are hardwired. We judge others by their actions and judge ourselves by our intentions. We judge others by their actions and we judge ourselves by our intentions. And if we understood maybe our customers or our clients' intentions better, would we be more compassionate? Would we be able to communicate more effectively and be more forgiving? And can we potentially understand that we must communicate our policies better to them? Both sides of the coin. I want to let you know, I need your cell phone or your email address so I can send you confirmation reminders. If you don't have these things at play, then you are not operationally sound at this point, okay? If they're repeat offenders, remind them. Occasionally put it on to the communications that you might already be sharing with your clients, okay? Put something on your mirror, post something on your mirror. We've updated our cancellation policy. Ask me now, okay? It doesn't even have to be the cancellation policy on the mirror. You could just put something on the mirror that says we've updated it. And so then the client could say, oh, what's the updated policy that you have in place? Okay. And you could just say, oh, we've been getting a lot of cancellations lately, so this is what we're doing. Of course, you're not part of that, so we shouldn't have any issues because you've been a very loyal client that always shows up for your appointments type of thing. Add value in this moment. Share what you need to share, but add value in this moment, okay? All right, you guys. Again, I want you to remember that the strategy that we're talking about here is if we have good operational processes in place, then we can market them out to share and communicate effectively with people. We can also educate our clients while we're in the salon with them to remind them of how we want them to do business with us. And of course, that inevitably leads to increased sales and a more prosperous, thriving business that I know you all want at this point here. So I have a program coming up. So if you guys are listening to this podcast, hopefully this is not outdated for you, but if you're listening to this podcast after the fact, you can still go to the link that I'm going to share with you guys, because I do this program twice a year. And the idea behind it is to be able to, my goal this year is to be able to work with 100 salon owners to help them get more digitally savvy in 2021, so that things like clients not showing up or clients canceling at the last minute become non-issues, because you've increased your ability to communicate more effectively with them by having the right digital presence, okay? So I've got a program, it's called SOS Thrive Over Survive, okay? And it's a 12-week program. And in this 12-week program, I know what you're thinking, 12 weeks, Bonnie, stop it. No, no, no. You need 12 weeks here, you guys, because what we're going to be doing is 6 of the weeks are going to be implementing strategy to either build new clients, to find new hires, to create brand awareness, to develop digital competencies in your business. The other 6 weeks of the 12 weeks, which is every other week, is open coaching sessions with me. So you would just bring whatever it is that you are working on that we've kind of decided upon, okay, as a group. You're going to bring that to the coaching session and you're going to say, Bonnie, can you help me write up this ad that I want to place on Indeed? Okay. Because maybe new hires is what you want to focus on. Or it might be, you know, can you help me create, can you help me with some of the copy that I need to do for this campaign I want to create for new client campaign? Okay. Can you help me write up a cancellation policy for my website? Okay, whatever it is that you need to get done, we're going to implement some strategies to be stronger at digital marketing. And we're going to have open coaching sessions for me to be able to help you as an individual within that time. So it's group coaching sessions, group learning sessions in there. It's over 12 weeks and it starts, you guys, on February 1st. So 2121 is when we're getting started with this program. And it's really only, it's 2 payments of $497. So you're getting 3 months of coaching and training for 2 payments of $497. So it's guys, it's really reasonable. I've altered this program a little bit, so it's a beta test that I'm putting out there. So I'm charging a minimal amount for that. But I promise you're going to get your money's worth in this 12 weeks. Okay, you're going to get your money's worth in the 12 weeks. And you know, listen, if not, I promise I'll give you your money back here. So go to sosthrive.com. And you can find out more about the program. You can also sign up for the program and you can do the 2 payments of $497 from that particular website there. There's also an opportunity if you want to pay in full that you guys would save a little bit more money. All right. So it's still reasonable from that factor. We're starting on February 1st, very soon, to be able to do it. So I hope that some of you will see the value in this and want to get started. If you've never worked with a coach before, this would be a great starter program for you to be able to do, to work with a coach. If you've worked with a coach before, but it hasn't been necessarily in regards to branding and marketing and digital competencies of your business, then this could be a great program for you as well. All right, guys, thanks for joining me today. Remember, you're the captain of your ship. So that means you're the captain of policies, procedures, and guidelines in order to teach people how to do business with us. I'll see you next week. And we've got some great guests coming up too on our shows here next month and a little further out. So I appreciate you joining me. Appreciate you being a follower of mine, and appreciate you being a part of the SOS Small Business Coaching and Podcast, where we're building brands that survive while developing you to thrive. All right. Bye for now.